The fraud thing though was kind of like that's not something that was really happening in the 90s as much, I'm assuming, or were you exposed to it back then as well?
No, not the 90s, but you know, I knew about it. But yeah, by the time after my record deal, you know, and I left the record company, a few years of, you know, financial strains or whatever not, and yeah, I got in.
Because the thing that I said to Vlad on that interview that he did with me was that in 2003, 2004, when I was driving around Massachusetts and New Hampshire, et cetera, hitting all the malls and doing all our purchases,
Right.
that was the exact era in which I would have probably been listening to some Guerilla Black. And then fast forward to, I don't know, what you got caught up around like 2009?
No, 2012 is when I first fell, so yeah.
And so by that time, yeah, I had kind of like moved on. Well, I moved on right around then, actually. It's been a long ass time since I'd done it. But then you ended up getting sort of wrapped up in that. Who necessarily, or how did you end up figuring out that was, because I remember one thing that I used to think when I first moved to Queens, 2004, I was just around all this like, you know, street shit that I'd never seen before, where there's dudes playing dice on the corner. There's some dude who's obviously selling drugs on the corner.
Right.
And I remember thinking, if these motherfuckers knew about this credit card shit, they would not be standing on the corner. Fast forward 10 years, 100% came true.
I'll never forget, man, when the shit came to me, and you know, once it came to me and I first got a card and I was like, oh shit. And so, bloop bloop, approved. Bloop bloop, approved. So my fascination and my hunger and my motivation delved me even deeper and deeper and deeper, to where I don't want to buy from nobody. I want to be the source of it. So I continued to deep dive. And so once I realized it, I just was having tens and tens of thousands of credit cards every day at my.
Let me guess, because I'm guessing that you're kind of similar to me in that I was basically like brought on to be part of a crew that this dude was doing, where he had some people, and I remember the first day I went out with him, he gave me like 40% of the value of what we brought back, and I, you know, blew my mind. But then I couldn't figure out the technological side of it. Like I couldn't figure out like, how do I order an encoder online?
Yeah.
But I had a friend who wanted to get down too, and I brought him around. As soon as we were away from the guy who was trying to bring us in, he's like, I got it. He's like, I know exactly what I got to order. We cut out our connect right away.
That was, you know, the dude who was my connect, he ended up showing me where to go buy it from. So once he showed me where to go buy it at, I was like, oh shit. And so next thing you know, I'm able to get so many cards, and I'm like, oh, okay. And so I'm only making my little money back. I'm making my money back with a little bit of profit. And so then I was like, you know, let me dig even deeper, because I don't want to buy from him anymore. I want to know who's the source. I want to go to the source. So I continued to dig deeper and deeper, and I eventually found the source. And yeah, from there it was no limit to how many cards I could get, and you know, the levels in which I was involved was even deeper and deeper and deeper. And so from that point out, I could easily, you know, make 200-300 cards a day, sell a few hundred of them a day. I would just sell a bunch of them and keep so many and send so many people out every single day. And that's what I did for a long time.
Right. And I mean, did you stay focused on like that area of that game? Because I would always hear about like, oh, yo, when people really get into this, they be having whole identities and they'll go and take out a loan and they'll do all that. You know?
I didn't need to do all of that. I felt like I just wanted to keep it basic and simple. I mean, it was the only hustle that paid for everything. You know, I knew D-boys, they still had to pay for gas and food and everything. Me, I pull out a card. Bloop, 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 bloop. The gas, bloop, bloop. The food, bloop, bloop. The clothes, bloop, bloop. And go make $3,000. How did you beat me?
That feeling of like a girl, like you're taking a girl out to eat and she's thinking you're rich as fuck and you're just thinking like, I ain't even paying for this.
Yeah, I ain't even finna pay for it. I just go right in my wallet. And you know what was so crazy is I put almost $5,000 in my wallet, and so I just walk in the store, and so I would have them all up in there. I put I have, okay, this one. Okay, okay, that's 10. Okay, cool. Yeah, give me that. Yeah. I want 500 on that one, 500 on that one, bloop, 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 bloop. And they would never, it was just so easy and so quick. So I realized that once I would leave there, I would pull up, and put 50 on the tank, bloop, bloop, and then roll back around the corner. You know what? I think I want some J's. Bloop, bloop. It just paid for itself. It was the only hustle that, to me, out of all of the hustling, I've sold everything on the streets. It paid for the gas, it paid for the food, and it was profitable. So it was the ultimate hustle for me because I never had to buy anything. I just had nothing but, closets and closets full of clothes. And, every time, everybody went out and they worked with me, their trunks was full. They had washing detergent powder, and they made a third. I split it all the way up. So everybody ate and everybody was fed.
It's a weird hustle because you're doing it to make money, but then at a certain point, it almost feels like I don't even need money.
I never did need. That was the scary part. I'm gonna use this shit to make the money. Yeah. I'm not finna spend no money. I mean, no lie to you. I would literally get up and maybe make 200 cards. Literally, when I was being sentenced, they brought it out. The guy who told on me took him, to the room where I made him, and they put up a surveillance camera. And so, yeah, this was played at my sentencing. And so I had an open plea sentence, so they played the footage of me making cards.
So that's how you ultimately got caught up, is that you just had somebody snitching on you?
Yeah, everybody pretty much, the main dude told on me, and another guy, he told on me as well. So they both ended up telling on me and cooperating with the government.
Wow.
Yeah, so... yeah, it was just at the point of where, I would make 200 cards a day and literally, employ my little soldier homegirls, and we would just go.
But that's always the problem in any crime, is once you start taking it to the level of really scaling it, and there ends up being a bunch of people involved, that's when you're fucked. Yeah,
but you know what?
I
can't control nobody, but I live by the code, and, I've always lived by the code. And, I mean, I didn't, they made their choices ultimately, but I wanted to make sure that I protect myself. So I would never put them in a position of where if they were to go to jail, I would leave them there. Hell, fuck no. I would bail their asses out. They got kids. My mind is, okay, if I take care of them, they're going to take care of me. And none of them told on me. None of them told on me. It was 2 people told on me. They know who they are. All the rest of them people, none of them people told on me. Nobody. Them 2 people was men. Out of all of the women that I worked with, it was 2 men, and they told on me.
You got hate in your heart for them still?
You know what? I look at it as that it was bigger than them. It was bigger than them. It was bigger than them. What they did, I don't like, but ultimately, God had, things don't happen to us, they happen for us. And so it was 2 options. I think God really wanted to slow me down, because I didn't have no breaks, and I didn't have the rationale to really sit with my thoughts on a lot of shit. My mind worked one way, and it was one, dimensional. And so it was this, I'm going to go get it. I'm going to do this. I'm going to make it happen. There was never where, they say everybody can hear God, but over the period of time, we turn his volume down more and more and more and more and more. So he becomes almost like a little...
You had him all the way turned down.
I had him all the way turned down.
You weren't hearing shit.
I turned God all the way down. I wasn't hearing shit.
If you're really doing some crime day in, day out, you're going to have to tune it out.
Yeah. You got to tune it out, because you got to... So, I mean, I had turned it all the way down. And so he, they say God protect fools and babies. And I think I was a fool. So, he was protecting me. He was like, look, I'm going to have to put you over here for a minute. For one, either you're going to be dead, or 2, you're going to end up getting some crazy, crazy numbers. And I was facing crazy, crazy numbers. So, I mean,
you had to take a plea deal?
I did an open plea where I pled out to 8 felonies, and in an open plea, I pled out to 5 bank frauds, aggravated identity theft. So on the majority of my charges, I had an access device charge too. So access device, aggravated identity theft, which carries a 2-year mandatory, and 5 bank frauds. So he gave me 86 months, but the 2 runs, it doesn't run, you can't run it concurrent. It has a mandatory minimum. So after the 86 months, You tack on another 24 months, which gives me 110 months.
Right.
So yeah, you can't run it you can't. It runs bow-legged because of it's a mandatory because it was aggravated identity theft.
It does feel like that's a pretty extreme sentence for something that wasn't violent, that wasn't, you know.
All right. Well, he could have banged my frame. Just you know, if you know anything about it, bank fraud carries a maximum penalty of 30 years.
That could have been worse, huh?
I pled to 5. So you just have to think about that. I also pled to access device fraud. So look at the amount of cards that I had in my possession. I had 30,000 cards. So, well, they weren't physical cards, but 30,000 numbers, you know, that were captured, you know.
Right.
When you look at it at 500 a pop, that's $20 million.
Yeah.
That's $20 million. So he could have banged my frame, even though I was first coming into the system. My points were so high when you're looking at a sentencing guideline, at a federal sentencing guideline. So when you look at it, my range is between 108 to 135 months.
Right.
So, yeah.